Alright guys, TacticalRab and I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Rostermania chaos is in full force last night, with so much drama going down with regard to so many different teams. They seem to know these rosters, which guys they want to bring in. They seem to have no idea which guys they want to kick out of their roster. We've got Seattle Surge, we've got the Minnesota Rokkr, and certainly the Boston Breach. What is going on in this camp right now? Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, just wanted to mention a quick update on this. This is the 6-star map we saw yesterday. Hadn't really seen it compared head-to-head against raids, but this is what this is. So just to have a quick look, this is raid from Black Ops 2 and Black Ops Cold War on the right-hand side. This is 6-star on the left-hand side coming into the game in just a couple of days. So if you flip it upside down, as I said yesterday, 180 degrees, 6-star on the left-hand side, you kind of get the pool side, which lines up with the pool side here. You kind of get the ring side a little bit. And okay, there are some differences, but there are no doubt some serious similarities here. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't even want this map tested. Just chuck it straight into the game, because it seems like Vista, that's certainly going to happen. But we've got to dive into Rostermania, man, because there's so much going on here. Firstly, Omid, at least their European team, Weeman, Vortex, Hixie, and Mythics, players that most certainly CDL teams should be interested in. But, well, it's challenging, right? So there's visas, there's other complications. But have a look at this from Omid. I thought this is honestly so cool. I'm even give it a like here on Twitter. Omid is willing to cover their travel expenses for trials at your facility and is open to discussing support with associated visa expenses. So, honestly, that's a banger. Hopefully, somebody takes them up on this offer, right? Because a guy like Hixie, and Weeman has also been frying in challenges, and in terms of like an AR option for some of these teams, Weeman is certainly someone who should be on the radar. But even Hixie, like, let's be real, he was on Toronto last year, they got first in his first event, they got second in his second event at the World Championship. That's his resume in the league, and he didn't even get a spot this season. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes sometimes being a European player, and, you know, other teams felt like they can improve. And sure, Toronto brought in Envoy, and they won the first event, but they got fourth at the most recent event. So technically, Toronto's results with Envoy are first and fourth. Their results with Hixie were first and second. Probably too early to say anything on that front, but, you know, Envoy had a bad event this time. We'll just see how time progresses, but I think it's just a shame really the way this is worked out. And I also wanted to mention on the Heretics side, because the Spanish scene, the politics are kind of interesting. JurNii seems to be the only man that's kind of straddled the gap, really, because there are probably better players. I would actually say there are definitely better Spanish players that are currently on the Miami Heretics roster. But due to like weird internal stuff in the region, it doesn't seem to happen. Like Super is a monster, but I just guess he doesn't really get along with those other Spanish guys that are on the Heretics. So it just doesn't happen. But JurNii's going to team with Rencor, Super, and Yakko. So that's his new team going forward in the Challenger side, which makes a fair bit of sense. But I just think that there's some other options. There are some legit Spanish players, but it just seems like Miami are going to stick with their guns on what they're doing. They're bringing Real in, of course, and we are not sure who he's going to replace, but ErikBooM has been struggling, no doubt about that one. So yesterday we talked about the Seattle Surge, confirmation that Arcetes is gone from the team, dropped off the roster, not even on the bench anymore, and he reacts to that, we'll see later on today. But at the time, yesterday morning, Jake Hale said Cobra, the only name that he has heard linked with the Surge spot, but not received anything concrete. So we talked about this yesterday, the whole Cobra, aBeZy, obviously not Linz because he's on Minnesota Rokkr, but aBeZy angle that might happen. But it seems like since then, Surge have somewhat changed their minds. And all the teams we're going to discuss today apparently have some idea who they want, apparently have some idea who they want to get rid of, but they still don't have anything really set in stone. So it's complete chaos right now, and it starts here with the Minnesota Rokkr. So Awakening is due to go. This, I think, was an inevitability, the way that he performed at the start of the season. Still crazy, this guy went from going positive in 85% of series over the last couple of years, and that's a legit stat, by the way, from last year, to this year, that number is 15%. Like, he is completely reversed in terms of his slaying characteristics, and you know, he was on the team to slay. If it's not happening for whatever reason that we can speculate on, and we'll discuss that actually later on today as well, frankly, I think he had to go. So that's the change they're looking to make. The question I had was, would they make another move? Like, I was wondering whether Vivid would go as well. And apparently that is definitely possible. So Dak is named as a replacement. And I will say, what I find rather entertaining here is that the teams, I don't really know if the coaching staff of these rosters actually watch challenges. I swear they just look at who wins. And maybe there's nothing wrong with that on some level, But the fact that the team that won challenges at the Miami Major won in a Game 7, Round 11 fashion reverse sweep against FaZe Black, and all of those guys that won Game 7, Round 11, as close as you're really going to get, they are either getting onto a league team or very much in consideration for doing so. The team that lost the Game 7, Round 11, those guys aren't even getting talked to, you know? So I think it's pretty wild, and just the way that this whole thing works. But anyway, Vivid apparently switching to an AR. What's going on here? Are we serious right now? Like, if you put Vivid on an AR, surely you take away his strengths as what makes him good as a player. Maybe there's something in that, but if you're going to think about putting Vivid to an AR, surely just bring in somebody who actually runs the AR. But Surge are in a similar boat. We'll get back to Rokkr in a second, because they are looking to make potentially 2 moves with RCTs. Gone 0-4. So it was 0-4 and Dak on with Gunless and Classic on that team that won the Challengers event. 0-4's being considered. He is expected to replace RCTs, and there's also talk about Hook being gone, and I was like, are we serious right now, getting rid of Hook? He's been like the only bright spot, I would say, of this team. aBeZy still has some potential, I would say, no doubt in my mind, but Hook has been their most impactful player. His first blood rate and search is like the only good thing they did this most recent stage. But then he came out and said later, actually, no, Hook, as far as he understands, is safe. He's not going anywhere. But things are changing, and things might well change again. aBeZy even said this, actually. One guy says something and everybody believes him. Twitter is crazy. I had to screenshot this because I went to find this tweet today and he'd blocked me on Twitter for some reason. Don't really know why, but all good. I found the tweet elsewhere anyway. But yeah, aBeZy says this, and things are still very much fluid, I would say, behind the scenes at the Seattle Surge. Same story, though, with Rokkr, because then there are rumors emerging that they are looking at other potential trials as well. So the feeling might be that Rokkr are looking for either a one-man change for Wake, or quite possibly a 2-man change with Vivid as well, if they find something that makes a little bit more sense. So they're looking at Dak for sure, and apparently they're looking at Gunless coming into the team. So of course that was a duo on that team that just won the most recent Challengers events. The rumor that was emerging last night was that they're definitely looking at Gunless for Wake effectively, and then they're going to be looking for potentially another move in the Vivid case. And Rokkr are just the most attractive option that Dak and 0-4 have. So the rumor was that they're going to probably bring in Gunless, or at least trial Gunless, trial Dak and 0-4. Whichever one of those they like, they might well bring in for Vivid. And whichever one of those they don't like, he will probably go to Surge. Because Dak and 0-4, I think both of them would probably prefer to go to Rokkr than to go to Surge. That's how it looks to me. But as I say, and as I mentioned earlier, as Exceed says, have been at the clear-cut top of Challengers all year, wasn't even considered for any roster moves throughout the entire season, because even when FaZe Black won, to be fair, back in Boston, Exceed wasn't brought up. They now get second tier. Exceed isn't really considered, and it's tough, you know, like, even if you do very well at the top of Challengers, if you've had an underwhelming stint in the Pro League previously, teams are just going to look at some other players, and you know, it's just tough for some of these guys, but that's the nature of the scene, unfortunately. And I guess it's kind of cool to see Gunless get an opportunity again if he does. Such a talented player, but you know, it's had a few years out at this point. There were questions whether he would ever get another look in. But we've got to talk about Boston, man, because this is the most crazy thing that we saw all day. Firstly, a coaching change. This is one of those things we talk about on the Dope Check show, that the coaching staffs in the league sometimes get credit, sometimes don't get credit. But let's be real, Boston have had the resources, they've had the money, they've had everything it should have taken for them to be in the top 4 conversation, and they've squandered it now for years. So big questions on Zed, the coach, on Dens, the GM. Do they know what they're doing? I don't know. I like those guys, but I don't know if they know what they're doing. Let's be real on this one. So Ronnie says, Boston are making a coaching change. Of course, I was joking around about Doug, and I would have my questions if Doug was to step into that role. But then again, Doug is known as a pretty good talent scout. Could he be a good coach? I don't know, maybe. And he's obviously got other things on his mind as well, so I'm not saying this is a guarantee, but apparently Boston are making a move over there. So, I don't know, is Zed gone? Are they bringing some other coach in? Like, what's Dens doing? Is he calling the shots anymore? Is somebody else calling the shots in terms of the roster-making decisions? But then we heard the rumors last night as to what these changes are actually going to be. So I'll share what Parasite, what Zuma have to say on the matter, on what they've heard about Boston.
I'm leaking one because it is, this change is absurd, and I will not stand for it. I'm done.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, chat, ready?
Go ahead.
Asim is getting dropped. I'm done. I'm getting out. I'm leaving. Bye.
What?
Wait, but Tom,
you gotta say the other one too, bro. You gotta say the other one.
That one is absurd.
That one is absurd. That one is absurd.
Asim is getting dropped, bro. I'm done. I don't want to be here anymore.
Wait, hold on. But why is that first guy getting picked up?
Why is the first guy getting picked up?
That's friendship. That's friendship cheese.
Well, now that you leaked the first one,
who is he friends
the second
with?
one. The second one is Austin Lytical Slasher. He's gone. Fuck! 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 What did we just do? Fuck!
Wait.
I'm just mad.
Hold on, I'm confused though.
Fuck!
We're all confused. We're just as
No,
confused as you are.
no. I mean, I don't care about the second guy getting picked up. That's
What, you
fine.
don't care about Austin? What?
I don't
Beans
care
and
about
Pentagram.
No, I'm saying I don't care about the second guy getting picked up.
Fucking change.
Well, they gotta
Well,
keep those looked at aBeZy as a sub player. I don't know why, but
Well, aBeZy might be if they're not dropping Kyler, then aBeZy might be the one to go.
right, which maybe they experiment with like a flex player or some shit. Like I don't know, maybe they experiment with another change here and see. I did hear a rumor, Ben and Chris. I heard a rumor that Illy might be coming back into this roster. I have heard that behind the scenes. I have heard Illy maybe coming back in.
So aBeZy, Ender, Kyler, 04.
Which is not a bad team.
It's not bad. The comms on that team would be interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, if they did bring back Illy and it was aBeZy on a main and then Illy on a flex.
So Asim comes in for a stage, and now he's gone. But the remarkable thing to me was the whole slasher one, right? So what is going on here exactly with Boston? Because this team, at least as we initially heard it, would be Snoopy to stay, Priestahh to stay, Beans and Pentagram rounding out the team. I don't know about that one, boss. So Asim comes in, he's done a respectable job. Was he a great player this stage? Not necessarily. I think you can probably make a case for replacing like anybody on that roster. But I think that Slasher it's difficult to make a great case to get rid of Slasher given the circumstances. I guess the case you would make is that the team with Slasher was meant to be a good search and destroy team. They haven't been. So, either you say, look, that's Slasher's fault because he was meant to introduce a system that was going to work for search and it hasn't worked. So maybe the theory is, you know what, let's give up on this whole veteran AR kind of leadership level concept and playing fundamental COD and let's just stack the team with some talent and just have them run around. And I don't know, maybe there's some merit in that. But Capsidol, who is formerly on the team, of course, says, he doesn't necessarily think they're making some good decisions here. If it were me and I was Boston after that event, I would have probably said to Slasher, because yes, he hasn't been good this season at all, really, but he's probably been most consistent. And when he went to LAN, certainly Major 1, he was their best player by far. I'm sure they only played one series there. And then, Major 2, Asim had pretty good results as well. During that tournament they played on LAN, obviously they still came out top 12 though, but they had a chance at least up against the New York Subliners in the winners bracket, and then they lost in 5 to the Minnesota Rokkr. But top 12 again, it's another disappointing, to say the very least, placement from the Boston Breach. So I'd have probably said to Slasher, like, hey, what are we thinking here? Because Snoopy is no doubt a talented player. I know many people will say, hey, send him to challenges so we can get more experience. But I just don't think that going to challenges is like the way to get experience, because challenges is a different game. Like, you're not going to go to challenges and improve your playstyle. That's not going to work. The way you do it is theoretically by playing with top-level veteran players in the Pro League. That was their plan. Doesn't really seem to be working, but it seems like they're going to be sticking by him. And yes, Jake Hale says, though, late last night, Boston, from what I've heard, they've weighed up more options than I've had hot dinners. There's some truth behind the rumours, but time will tell. Priestahh is the only name that I've been really told is not at risk right now. So I've said before that I don't really think the AR duo is it. And if anything, I'd have probably kept Slasher over Priestahh, but apparently not. Priestah's going to stay. Management loves Snoopy too and consider him a long-term investment, but he's not completely safe. So that's why we've heard the rumours that Asim is basically gone for sure. So he's been there one stage, and Asim is like guaranteed out apparently. The rest, we just have no idea what they're doing. So what are they playing out over at Boston right now? I don't know the answers to these questions. Have this stuff been leaked and therefore they're seeing the backlash and saying, actually, yeah, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be dropping Slasher? It's like, what are they thinking of that team? Now, the players they were looking to bring in, I actually don't think is necessarily a bad idea at all. They've had Beans on their system before. Of course, he was on their roster last year. They've had Pentagram around their academy before, who is a player that probably should have got a league chance, I would say, by now. So the players they're considering and the players that Surge and Minnesota are considering are good players to consider. But the players they're getting rid of, they don't seem to know what they're doing. I mean, are we going to have any leadership? We're going to have any comms on that team? Maybe Priestahh can provide some of that, but I expected probably more from, of that from him this year. There's even an argument that Priestahh to an SMG, like he was back in the day when he teamed with Slasher successfully, might be something to consider. But, depending on the options out there, I do think Beans was a player that was hard done by in the discussions last year. I definitely think he's a CDL caliber player in terms of his raw talent, and I think he will certainly get an opportunity again. Maybe this is it. But getting rid of Slasher and even Asim in some respects, I think you can make a case for either way. But, I don't know, they gave Slasher a massive bag, and I think the rest of the guys would want to join this team in the offseason. To get rid of him now is a strange one, for sure, if that happens, but we simply don't know what's going to happen. There was also Zuma saying that iLLeY, he's heard, and these are Zuma sources, so, take it as you will, but he heard potentially that iLLeY might be back on the Seattle Surge, or at least in consideration, so I guess we'll see about that. Scrappy joined the show as well and was joking about a few things. He said that Classic was going to be back in the team. I don't think that's going to be the case, or there are rumours that Classic to Surge or something might have been an option here, but Classic does basically say that, they're going to need some new teammates because their challenger team is blowing it up because those guys are going up to the Pro League. So it's absolute madness. Very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.